Okay, here we start off just with a close-up. Then you can just sort of imagine the camera kind of pulling back.
Right.
You see you and I sort of talking. We're trying to explain this part. Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine. Continue.
Okay. Now, instead of just doing an on-camera here, we can do a voiceover. So you're just explaining about... Are you sure you're all right?
Can you excuse me for a second? Yes. Yet another unexpected speech from the throne. You know what I'm talking about. Montezuma's revenge, Teresa, diarrhea, the Hershey...
Enough already! Break.
Well, did you ever wonder why you get diarrhea? Well, contrary to what many people think, diarrhea is not in itself a disease. It's a symptom of a deeper underlying problem. A problem found here in your intestine. The intestine is essentially an 8-meter-long tube. It's divided into two major sections, the small intestine and the large intestine. Together, the two act very much like a recycling plant. Allow me to explain. Food stays in the stomach until it's reduced to a mush. The mush is then released into the small intestine. Cells lining the walls of the small intestine pick out the nutrients from the food and pass them along to the bloodstream. After the small intestine has absorbed the useful stuff, you're left with essentially three things: undigestible material, minerals, and lots of water. Up to 2 liters worth. The minerals and water are recovered by cells in the large intestine. Once that's done, all that remains is a semi-solid waste material we know as feces. Doo-doo. Number 2. Now, when the line is working as it should, you're what they call regular. But if the line becomes disrupted, well, that's when you can get diarrhea. What do I mean by disrupted? Well, the line can become disrupted in basically 2 ways. The first involves muscle. You see, the intestine is lined with muscles. These muscles push food and other materials through the intestine with a wave-like motion. Now, when everything is working properly, the muscle contractions are slow and steady. But if for some reason the muscles contract faster, well, it's like turning up the speed on the conveyor belt. The food is pushed through the intestine too fast. The cells don't have enough time to pick out the nutrients, minerals, and especially the water. So you end up... Oh, look at this mess. Now, this increased muscle action can be caused by a number of things. Certain chemicals, a partial blockage of the intestine, even stress. But by far the most common cause of diarrhea involves these. Microorganisms. They get into your intestine by hitching a ride with your food or water. Once inside, they attach themselves to the intestinal wall and begin to secrete toxins. These toxins disable some of the cells in the intestinal wall. So the nutrients, minerals, and water flow through the intestine at their normal speed. But now there aren't enough healthy cells to pick the materials out, which leads once again to... Now, diarrhea can be no doubt uncomfortable, but it can also be dangerous. You see, if you continue to jettison all that water like that, you can become seriously dehydrated. That's why it's important to replenish those lost fluids and minerals. Thanks. And then there's food. You see, there are certain foods you should avoid when you have diarrhea. Avoid spicy foods, foods with lots of sugar, and dairy products. They naturally speed up the muscle action in the intestine, making your diarrhea worse. Try eating milder foods like bananas, applesauce, rice, and crackers. But if you're looking for some quick relief from diarrhea, medication may be the answer. Most of the popular diarrhea drugs work by slowing down the muscles in the intestinal wall. This slows the entire intestinal tract right down, so that the few cells that are working have more time to absorb the nutrients, minerals, and all that water. But you have to be careful with this stuff, because if you use too much, well, you may have to deal with the other side of the coin.